Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the market daily update. And today, market is closed, so we are going to be looking at the futures chart for NASDAQ and SPX, which is the ES futures for SPY, and NASDAQ would be the futures for QQQ. So, those of you that don't know what futures are, is that I'm going to use Pacific Standard Time. So, once market closes at 5 p.m. After hours, there's futures trading that's still going on. So that's why sometimes when 1 a.m. market opens, pre-market, you can see there's a gap up or a gap down. That's because of the futures trading. And you can actually see the price action going on during that time. So there was futures trading yesterday. So we can see what happened in the charts from these futures. So if you are using TradingView, you can just type NASDAQ, just type NQ and go to the ES E-mini NASDAQ futures. And you can actually see what happened yesterday as well as Sunday when futures opened. And for S&P 500, just type ES. You can go into this chart. And I have a link below on the TradingView descriptions if you just want to know where TradingView website is. It's completely free. All right, let's get into it. So let's take a look at the economic data first real quick. So this coming week, July Fed members are speaking, and they don't really move the market that much anymore. And the only one that people are probably going to be listening to is Jerome Powell. So that would be on Wednesday at 10. And nobody really listens to the rest of them anymore. So the other data that I'll be looking at would be initial jobless claims, which is a 3-star volatility. And I don't think building permits move the market that much. And so Powell is also going to be testifying on Thursday. And you can see all these FOMC members are talking this week over and over and every day. So we'll see what they're going to say. Probably the same thing. And so usually they don't move the market anymore. So that's not my concern at all anymore. Yeah, so not much data this week. So we can trade accordingly. And this thing, same thing. Fed hike on July, and the rest is hold for the rest of the year. Fear and greed index. We have been talking about this already. Extreme greed. So we just got to be careful going into this week after market's hitting its highs. So I'll give you guys the support and resistance levels on NASDAQ and the ES in a second. And we'll see what levels we'll be looking at, looking for potential reversals very soon due to all the sentiments are shifting towards the bulls. So we got to be cautious of that. Once everybody is either on one side, we are going to try to not be on that side of the boat after a while. Just like these datas in the past couple of months, everyone was bearish, and you can see how the market just continues to run up like that. Obviously, this is only one kind of indicator. We don't want to use just one, so we want to combine at least 3 or 4 scenarios to give you the best probability of trades. And you can see last week it went even higher to 42%. So we'll see. We'll get this data again this Thursday, and we'll see if it shifts or not. All right, let's get to the charts. All right, so this is NASDAQ futures is for QQQ. Means so sometimes when we trade QQQ or SPY, we also want to look at the futures as well. Actually, all the time you want to look at the futures, because sometimes when one of them breaks the resistance, let's say like NASDAQ over here breaks resistance, sometimes QQQ doesn't, and it ends up pulling back because of that. So when you're playing on either sides, you want to see it breaking together. That's the most ideal scenario. Obviously, if you're playing a bear, you want both of them to break on the bearish side, and for a bull, you guys want to see it breaking on the upside together. All right, so it hit NASDAQ actually hit 0.786 resistance on the Fibonacci, meaning A move to the bottom of this entire drop to this B move. So from the top to bottom, we count it as one move. So we draw the Fibonacci from there to here, measure it down to here, and then we see how much this balance has retraced over 78% of this drop. That's how the Fibonacci works. So you can see now we are getting close to all-time highs. So when we get to all-time highs, obviously it means it's retraced over 100% of it. So these numbers on the side are just telling you how much we have retraced over it. And these ratios are just golden ratios that somebody figured it out in nature. And so that's why these will act as resistance and supports, depending on which side you're at. erase that. So we got it here, and it's obviously rejected so far, and it doesn't mean that we're just gonna roll over and go all the way down here. It's just an initial rejection, and we're just starting our daily consolidation, just like we did over here. Rejection of that 0.65 level, and potentially, obviously, we can drop more, or the bulls will buy the dip. So we don't know any of that yet. This is just the beginning of the very first step. A daily consolidation just means the current candle here have already closed below the prior candle's low. So that means a daily consolidation is on its way. But you can see our last pivot was over here. So if NASDAQ drops 6%, we're still in a daily uptrend. So that's the amount of room bulls have to work with now. So bulls are very comfortable. And the reason this pivot is because the move up and the move down, that are now higher low, and the next move up breaking the prior high. And this move is only one move because none of the candles broke below the prior candle. So now this is the new pivot if we do bounce off of it. But obviously we'll see if we do or not. And so as long as the bulls are able to hold above this pivot, it's still a daily uptrend. Let's say we drop all the way down here, go back up. We're still above the prior pivot, it's still an uptrend. Obviously, if we drop all the way down here, the next time it bounces, the most likely scenario, it could be the bears are going to form that lower high, and that would be forming a daily downtrend. We don't have any of that price action yet. So right now we can just say it's a very healthy consolidation for now. Yeah, as long as we hold this 12 EMA, the bulls are perfectly fine. This tail looking line, you can see I go to the indicator, type exponential moving average, and then type in 12 to get this tail looking line. You can make it any color you want. So it bounces off here, bounces off here, bounces off here. So still looking good. Even we have like a big red day tomorrow or Thursday or Wednesday, we drop 3%. That would put us to over here, roughly here. The chart would still look okay. Like it's not, it's not breaking down or anything. It's still in a daily uptrend above this pivot. But the thing is that next move up, bears will have room now for on this bounce where they can start to add their shorts here to scout that lower high. Lower high just means this high, the pivot high, is lower than the prior pivot high, meaning that would potentially form a downtrend. So we'll see how this. The easiest thing I'm looking for this week is how big this pullback is going to be. If it's big enough, then we can potentially start to look for the bearish side once we bounce. If this is just a very shallow pullback, as we just pull back over here, and then bulls about the dip, then it's just like all these ones back here. Shallow pullbacks, bulls by the dip. And then our weekly consolidation will not be shaping up. So once this pullback finishes with bounces, then we have to zoom out to the weekly, right? We don't even have a weekly consolidation yet. This is a one straight move up for weeklies. This was a weekly consolidation over here, and this is another straight move up. You can see this candle closed below the prior candle on a weekly time frame. We don't have any of that yet. But we need to form a daily downtrend for us to say this is the weekly top that is set. That as of now, it's still in full bull control. We just want to make sure we don't want to short into a bull train. So see if we can get more clarity on the hourly time frame when we zoom into the smaller time frames. For the longer time frame, just gave us a better understanding of the longer time frame chart. But the small time frame obviously will let us know a little bit more clear what the next move in the short term would be. And so let's see here. This is one move on the hourly, and we did form a pivot, meaning this is now the lower high, lower than this high. And we broke that, so now we're in an hourly downtrend confirmed. Obviously, QQQ did not open, so QQQ doesn't have an hourly downtrend confirmed on its chart. And So that's what I want to see happening to QQQ once the market opens, form an hourly downtrend. NASDAQ thing now, and obviously the future chart will open and back up again at 5 p.m. So if you guys wanted to see what happens overnight, and just go back to your NASDAQ chart, and you can see this chart will actually start moving when 5 p.m. rolls around on Pacific Standard Time. So that'll be 8 p.m. EST. Yeah, so hourly downtrend will be my guide. So I want to see more follow through from the bears. We just broke this pivot low, so that's an hourly downtrend confirming. So if we just straight pop back up, tomorrow morning in pre-market, then that's essentially the market saying, all right, let's see if there's any bears here. And breaks, no bears in the market to be shown. All right, let's keep going back up. That's what it means if we have a bear break and no follow through comes through. Yeah, so if market's like, let's test to see if there's any bears at these levels. Nope, let's just keep going to the next level, and then when we hit the next level, then we do the same thing again, over and over. So that's how these pullbacks means on the price action psychologically on the markets. And essentially, the market just wants to find the best price that people want to buy at. So the next level I'll be looking at for if this is it for the drop, if this pullback is this shallow and we start bouncing, then the next level I'm looking at is breaking up. Obviously, this is going to be the first level. If we do break this prior high, I'm looking back up at this 8,695, which coincides with the bottom of this all-time high structure where we had in 20. You can see this thing, just a volume profile. It just means I go to the fixed range volume profile, and I just drag it across sections volume, and just shows you which levels in this section has the highest volumes. So volumes is what act as resistance and supports. The more volume it is in one area means Joe, Smith, Bob bought in this area, and potentially when the price comes up, if there is a huge volume here, probably a lot of them is going to want to sell, break even, right? So that's why it would act as a resistance when you're under it, especially if you waited for 2 years to break even, and you're like, oh my gosh, market finally just came up to this level, and after 2 years of me holding, and it's been such a hot market for the past 2 months, and maybe I should sell some to get some cash just in case, in the future I can maybe buy back a little bit cheaper. Essentially, the psychology of volumes. And this blue line just means it's the volume area low, meaning where this area is where the most volume is traded, and that's the low of the range of that area. So that would act as resistance if we do first come up to it. Also, you can see here, we couldn't get it over here too on September. So that coincides with this structure. So that's a good sign. And more than one area coincides with resistance, that will act as a stronger resistance. And many of them stacked in one place. So that's the next level I'm looking at if we do break above this prior high. And if we don't, obviously I'm looking back down for the test of 12 EMA as a support. We may just get, let's say we get it one red day here, 12 EMA is going to catch up and potentially bounce off of it. And then I want to see if the bears can follow through with their actions. If not, if we just bounce off of it straight up, then I'm looking back up to the structure. So I will update you guys tomorrow on the market when it happens or not. See how much of a pullback it's going to be. All right, let's get to the ES chart, which is the S&P 500 for the futures. It's very similar. You can see they move together, especially QQQ is always the one leading. So when we chart, we want to chart NASDAQ a little bit more, but obviously SPY has all the sectors in it. Since it has the energy sector, retail sector, all the sectors you can think of. QQQ, just the tech stocks. But tech has been leading since it has more weighting, like Apple, Microsoft, and all those kind of stocks. So right now we are testing this structure and this structure. These two have cluster of volumes here. And And the key thing for me is whether we break the structure or not is going to depend on NASDAQ, right? So if NASDAQ decides to pull back, SPY is not going to just be like, you know what, I don't care about NASDAQ, and just go out, because XLK, which is the technology sector in SPY, follows the NASDAQ, and that weighting is, I think, roughly 30 something percent in SPY. I have to check again. So obviously, if NASDAQ isn't going up, SPY is not going to go anywhere. And in fact, SPY might get dragged down if its other sectors are not performing either. So this level, this current level we rejected from last week on Friday, it's going to be the first level resistance I'm looking at. If we do get above this 4471 level, you can see we couldn't get over it back here as well. These structures over here, and it acted as support when we were above it. So you bounce off of it here. So that is the first level I'm looking at. See if ES can break. If ES can break that, I'm looking at up here at the 4501 level for me. If we can't, let's say we have a red day tomorrow, then same thing for SPY. Its pivot is all the way down here. So it has a lot of room for bulls to work with. Even if we drop 4%, it's still in a daily uptrend. So let's say we come back all the way down here. Obviously, I think the golden pocket resistance, 0.61, the retracement is going to act as support now that we're above it. So it can potentially bounce here. And then my guess is that we drop to here first, 4382 level. Support resistance is always a zone. It's not going to be a definite number usually. And then we bounce. And if it's a weak bounce, then we're going to come to test this golden pocket resistance zone for sure. As of now, we're still far, far away from that, because if we even have an hourly downtrend SPY. Okay, we had an hourly downtrend SPY too. This is one move. This is the pivot. And now we've broken that prior low. So now we want to see a 4-hour downtrend from SPY and QQQ. Actually, this is a 4-hour downtrend too. So on the future chart, we have 4-hour downtrends and 1-hour downtrends on both QQQ and SPY. So I want to see that on the actual SPY chart when market actually opens. Cash opens. Cash open price action is a lot more important than futures, because futures are trades a little bit less volume, but futures has more data because it also takes in the market opens data as well as the futures overnight data together. So you get a little bit more data for these guys. So yeah, very first thing I want to see for the bears, when market opens tomorrow, I want to see more volume coming in for the bears, as well as confirming those hourly and 4-hour downtrends. And for the bulls, obviously you want a shallow pullback and bouncing off of supports. We broke the 4-hour EMA 12 for NASDAQ. You see those holding here. Now we broke through it and we retested it, failed, and came down to it. So if futures chart gap down, then it's a slight rejection from the most support. Even if we drop 3% tomorrow, the chart would still look really good on QQQ overall for the bulls. The next key thing for me would be the bounce after the drop. So if it's a shallow bounce, then it's going to be more downside. All right, it's got for you guys. Today's a little bit different. Today's more of a psychology and lessons of how the price action moves around. And feel free to comment below if you guys like these analysis where you get to know what the meaning of the price actions is psychologically. Let me know in the comments. And if you've subscribed, you guys made it this far, and have a great rest of you guys today. I will see you guys tomorrow for the market update.